So, well, thanks for being on the show today. It's great to see you.
Thanks for the invite, man. It's we've got
No,
more than just a
absolutely.
business relationship, so
Man, I made a list of the people that I wanted to have on, and you were definitely at the top of the list. So fun, and it just even if all I got to do was sit and hang out with you in the studio again for a little while, it was worth it to me. Um, but for my listeners, for everybody who's paying attention out there and watching right now, my guest today is Russ Laggan. Awesome dude. I'm super excited. I anticipate a little bit of along the lines of the Alyssa episode kind of feel. So if that sets anybody up for who's been listening, it's going to be a little off the cuff, a little off the rails, but it should be it should be pretty fun. So, Russ, uh, take us back. Where'd you come from? How do we end up with a Russ Laggan in this world?
oh man, it's funny, Randy. Like people tell me how different I am all the time, but I don't really feel different. Like I don't know any other way to do me. Like this is just me being me. I think once I got really comfortable in my skin and kind of was like, I don't really care what I mean, I care what people think, and I do get my feelings hurt, and I actually have feelings.
Yeah, there's a
But
human
really,
in
when
there.
push comes to shove, I don't really give a shit what people think, to the point where it's going to change what I'm doing to a substantial degree. Obviously, there's things in my life where I'm like, hey, Russ, probably should maybe, yeah, sure. I mean, I'm willing to take guidance, but like, I kind of feel like if everybody else is doing something to me that says I should be doing it different, just in general, like I purposely wore a t-shirt today knowing you're a t-shirt guy, right? I purposely wore a t-shirt today just to mess with you because how many times do you see me without a shirt, tie, and a vest? Like
Never.
in a pool.
In a pool. I've seen you every place that you wouldn't be
In a
wearing a vest
pool,
and a
down the
tie.
water slide, in the lazy river,
Yeah,
sitting in the wave pool. Yeah, I mean, yeah, vest, shirt, and tie. That's
I love it. I love it.
like
You came to
anything
dance to the
are so
song for.
risque.
Yeah.
Trying to bring some
Yeah.
classiness back to swimming. Remember when I used to swim in three-piece suits? But yeah, no, I mean, yeah. So where do I come from? Like, yeah, I mean, you want the real story? The real story is I'm a freaking universal being having a human existence. I come from something outside of this planet, outside of this existence of material world. I believe very highly that I'm connected to something that's way bigger than I am. For me to actually put a title to it and put it in a box and say it is, naming it is, I think, is the wrong thing to do. Letting
Sure.
it be, it is what it is. There's something way bigger, greater, more amazing than us, that we come from. And by the way, when we die, we go back to. So, like, I'm not afraid to live. I'm not afraid to die. I'm not afraid to try stupid stuff. I'm not afraid to do something that doesn't work. Um, Try everything twice. The first time, if it doesn't work, try everything twice, and sometimes you're going to do things three or four times, and try to improve on everything you do. And then if at some point it gets to the point where you're like, I don't really love doing this every day, then do something freaking different. Like
Yeah,
you are creating an existence.
absolutely. So I love that. And obviously I feel that a lot. I relate to it. It's a very similar approach that I take to my time through this planet. Um, you're from Detroit originally?
Born in Jersey, lived in Detroit 10 years, moved in the middle of my junior year of high school. So I got like the majority of my formative years that I remember, probably mostly Detroit. Yeah. So, yeah.
And what does that early life look like? Right? What's home life like? What are
Yeah.
the early years?
Yeah. So I may still have some scars here. So, my parents were just in town. Love them. They've grown up a lot.
Also relatable.
Whew. Yeah. So, four boys under the age of 5. Grew up in very, very strict fundamental Christian church. Funny enough, we had just as a funeral last week before last, for somebody that passed that we knew when we were kids, and we bumped into some of the people from the old church, and they're like, "I remember you boys when you were little, and you sat in a row, all lined up perfectly in a row, the perfect four boys." I'm like, "Do you know why?"
We were terrified.
Terrified of my father.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, just, for me, funny enough, part of the reason why I am what I am and who I am is because of that very clear, strict, there are rules for everything, and there's ways to do everything, and there's ways to say everything, and you don't cuss, you don't dance, you don't drink, you don't. And I think, my belief system now as an adult at 53 is very, very different in regards to the fact that, like, when you grow up with such a strict rule of what you can't, and you won't, you got two choices. You either follow that and run with it, or you freaking rebel against it. And there's people that go completely off the cliff. I didn't go completely off the cliff and do stupid crap and kill people and do drugs and end up in jail. I don't have a great story like that. Have you heard of quiet quitting?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like when you're like, I just don't give a shit enough to show up anymore, and I'm just gonna not show up until somebody says, you know what, get out. I did the quiet quitting on religion. So went to theological seminary for 2 years, and then realized that, like, the arguments that I started unintentionally, just being curious, were untenable, to the point where they put me in counseling, and then
Yeah.
we basically agreed this is not the right fit for me.
Yeah.
So do I have a very strong belief system? Yes. Do I very much rebel against being told what to do? Yes. Do I rebel against being in a box? Yes. I'm going to do something different just because I can. And it's not an intentional thing. It's just like, I just want to do things the way I want to do things, and it doesn't harm and hurt other people. And if it can make a difference and it makes somebody else's life better, I'm all in, right? I'm not afraid to try weird stuff.
Where did you fall in that lineup of the boys?
Predator, not prey, 2 out of 4.
Okay.
There was a lot of 1 and 3 versus 2 and 4, and there's a lot of 1 and 3, 2 and 3 versus 1 and 4, and there's a lot of,
Sure.
there was never 1 and 2 versus, but yeah,
Right.
but
Right.
I mean, yeah, we grew up in the good old days, man. Like, it's funny, the Gen X people, like, you can't hurt us. My parents threw us out in the morning, and we came back when it was dark. Like,
Yeah.
fend for yourself, go out and eat bugs, don't go in the woods. So what did we do? We went out in the woods,
And ate
right?
bugs. Right.
I grew up drinking hose water.
Yeah.
Hose outside the house, and the reason they're like, well, didn't you have a faucet in the house? Well, yeah, but we weren't allowed inside the house. Like, you do not come back inside the house. That's how we grew up, right?
It's
We
so
played
funny, man.
stickball. We played kick the can. We threw eggs at the neighbors' houses at night. You know?
I drove by an old childhood haunt not too long ago, and there's a creek that we used to catch crawdads in,
Yeah.
and I looked over at it and I thought, dear God, I would never let my kids go in there. But I mean, we were practically swimming in it, right? Like, it's just
Yeah.
sewer runoff or whatever, whatever the creek is. I don't know, who knows what's in there, but yeah, I definitely relate to that. There was definitely a time. It was a different time, right?
Yeah. If you've never been shot by a BB gun or shot somebody with a BB gun, you didn't grow up in my era. Right?
Or
I mean, that
mine.
was the deal. You just, you go out there. We hit rocks with my buddies, the neighbor kid's dad's golf clubs. Now, in hindsight, I would have murdered all of us. Like, God, they're like, what the heck happened to my golf clubs? We hit rocks because we ran out of golf balls. We hit all his golf balls into the woods, and then we hit rocks.
Yeah.
And, like,
Yeah.
it was the. Yeah, I mean, so we jokingly say the good old days, but I think there's a lot to be said with going outside. Like, even now today, I was sick. I've just last kind of feeling like I come out of the shell from COVID for 5 days of just beat down, and like every day I'm like, just get yourself outside, Russ. Just get yourself outside and sit in the backyard, sit outside in the sun. I still have that drive to just get outside and be in nature. Just being outside the building, right?
Totally.
I think we've lost a lot of that in these days. Like, sometimes you just should throw yourself outside. Literally throw yourself outside. Turn the TV off, turn your phone off, go outside without your phone.
One of my favorite hashtags that I post with is turn off the TV and go outside all the time. Always
Yeah.
posting with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super, super relatable. And I could not agree with you more. This generation of being plugged in, and I love tech. I love toys. I love gadgets.
You
I
do.
love all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah.
There's something just soul filling about sitting by the ocean with nothing, or just being outside taking a walk, or the
Yeah.
wind, or even if, like it's super hot here right now,
Yeah.
but even just being able to go outside and sweat and, and do something, just be in it.
Yeah.
It just feels different. It feels like I get what you're saying. Like, I think there's something to that, right? There's something that your soul needs about going outside and not being inside all the time.
I don't think people realize that they're like, well, what do you do? I'm like, you're doing nothing. But what are you doing? You're doing nothing. Doing nothing is something.
Something. It's a big something.
Well, it's opening that space. Like, Randy, people fill themselves so much with noise and so much with the other stuff and that other sensory inputs and the outside sensory inputs that they don't have time to figure out who the hell they are anymore.
That's
Like,
right.
who are you really? It's like that still soft voice. Have you heard your own voice? Like, what does your brain do when you've got no other stimulation? Let it run wild. Let it run, drive, do some cool stuff. Like, the best solutions to your life are in stillness and quiet.
Do you think that people have gotten afraid of that?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think there's certainly a fear of stillness. There's certainly a fear of quiet. It's like, what if I'm not enough? When you're by yourself, what if you're not enough? Well, what if you're not? Like, well, heck, maybe it's time to do something about it, right?
Right.
Maybe that's the moment where you're saying, like, why am I not enough? What should I be doing differently? Maybe doing the different thing you need to do, maybe doing nothing.
Right. Right. Absolutely. It can
More
doing
noise.
nothing can be so difficult, right? It can be
More
so
noise.
difficult.
More noise has never solved anything, I don't think.
Yeah. I feel that. I feel that.
Yeah.
So over the course of the time that I've gotten to know you, I've heard you mention probably no less than like 6 things that you used to do. And some of them you still do a little bit.
Here we go. All right.
This is the deep cuts, baby. This is where we're getting into the weeds. Talk to us about some of the cool stuff that you have done / still do. And I won't call too many out, but this guy's raced motorcycles. This guy does woodwork. This guy has sold luxury appliances. Like, let's talk about some of those things and how they sort of, led your path a little bit and informed into who you are today.
Yeah. So let me just rattle the list, and then you can pick which one you like.
Okay. Perfect.
All right. This list is a smudge on the weird side. Okay. I'm just going to run up the list, top to bottom, right? And you can edit this back out if you want.
No.
Paperboy, raked leaves, mowed lawn, shoveled snow. Like, that was me as an entrepreneur kid, man. Like, if we wanted something as a kid, there's 4 boys. I can't imagine the financial pressure on my dad having 4 boys tearing stuff up, including shoes. If I wanted a skateboard, I'd go out and earn the money to buy a skateboard. My bicycle, I paid for my bicycle from paper route money. And until I had the bicycle, I actually walked the paper route with a thing over my shoulder, like a pack in the front and a pack in the back with the Sunday paper. And I'd have to take 3 trips back, and it was almost a mile to my paper route. So I would huff a
And
mile.
just for the younger crowd out there that that if you've even heard of a paper route at this point, the last version of it I saw was people driving around in their car and just chucking it out the window. So it's like, it's this is not that.
I delivered newspapers to a 55 and over community, and 2 things. Number one, they were very particular about how their newspaper was delivered. And in Michigan, you can't just chuck it on the porch because it would be wet or snowed on half the time. So it was in between the door, or it was, and then it was an absolute bitch getting adults to pay a kid. Like, why would you hold out on a kid, right? So I became a collection agency. And my technique was, like, if you didn't pay me for 3 weeks, I just start throwing your newspaper in the bushes, and guaranteed I get a call then. I'm like, when you start paying me, I'll start delivering your newspaper back in between the door. Until then, I'm throwing it in the bushes. Like, I was holding their freaking newspaper hostage as a 12-year-old.
Yeah, you're lucky you're getting
I'm
it at all.
ruthless. Yeah, like I'm gonna take your crap. You don't pay me. Guess what? Your newspaper ends up where it ends up.
Yeah, that's
If you want your
perfect.
newspaper somewhere specific, like on the porch, you're gonna have to pay me, right? So, I'd get complaints on occasion, and they'd get the call, and they're like telling a 12-year-old, 12-year-old. Good Lord, right? I was
Yeah.
probably 13. Okay. So,
Okay.
so paperboy. Yeah. So, but I wasn't afraid to hustle, right? Like I learned at a very young age, if I wanted something that was nicer than what I had or wanted something different, I'd just go out and get it. Right. Worked for Accent Sign Company at 16, my first real job, making little A-frame signs, bending stuff, toxic waste dump. That was the paint process.
Oof.
Met a guy named Art who ate tuna fish every day for lunch because that's what he could afford. Uh, Interesting dude. Met Dan the Man, who used to drive us to downtown Detroit. We'd hang signs downtown Detroit in some of the most heinous environments ever. Some of the funniest freaking stories that I won't tell you here.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
moved in the middle of my junior year of high school to Ohio, which was the weirdest thing ever. Graduated high school, got a job on the railroad, swinging a sledgehammer, driving spikes, doing railroad repair with a bunch of adults that I should have never been exposed to in my life.
Hmm.
That was interesting. Worked as a brakeman. Train derailed. I quit the job when I was hanging on the outside of the train and it derailed. Have you ever been on a train that derailed on the outside of the train? I have.
No.
I
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
2 years at theological seminary. Resigned from that. Wasn't a good fit. I became a licensed hairstylist in my early 20s. Resigned from that. Project management, kitchen bath design, project management, remod house stuff. Did the design work and then oversaw the project management. And then I started my own company doing concrete countertops. Countertops made out of concrete in 1999 before anybody even knew what it was. And then I
Yeah.
learned some valuable lessons. Concrete gets hard and shit's heavy.
Yes.
So it's just small. So
Yeah.
sold that in 2004 or five. Learned some valuable lessons on how not to sell a company, and then got into the real estate business. So worked as a real estate agent. Moved to Ohio. Moved to Florida as a real estate agent, and then managed some offices. Ran some real estate brokerages. Bought and sold my own real estate brokerage. And then I've got a couple of weird hobbies. I build electric bass guitars. I've built like 70 something of them. Actually, I've got a 6-string electric bass guitar that I've got to do a little tweaking to that just got shipped back yesterday that I can't, I've opened it up and I'm like, wow, look at this thing.
Uh,
And I still, 7, 8 months after shipping something, a year later, I see some of the stuff that I built and I look at it and I'm like, how did I build that?
yeah.
It still baffles me sometimes. It's just interesting. You kind of get in that's where I kind of learned that creative zone. You kind of get in this creative zone and then you come out the other end and you're like, where did that come from? I also forge knives for fun. I do some leather work. I make watch bands. I built my own man bags, all kinds of woodworking, furniture building, made the wall here, built the desk next to me, built the desk over there, so
Man of
yes.
many parts.
Yeah, it's a craft. It's like for me, Randy, it's a the craftsman part, it's the building stuff,
Yeah.
creating things with my hands. I've always had that drive to build stuff. And that translates into the business I'm in now, creating
100%.
things, building businesses and building people and building teams. It's all the same stuff.
So, hairstylist is what I'm gonna flick. For those who don't know, I mean, if people out there that know Russ, you know this, but when I met Russ, he was razor to the skin bald, right? Like completely bald, like one of those, like that's not intentional.
Not bald. And I used to correct people on this and be like, "Oh, you're bald." I'm like, "No, I'm hairless." And they're
Hairless.
like, "Ha ha
Yeah.
ha."
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
they
You're
didn't
like, oh,
know.
that's funny because then you're like, okay, well, nobody chooses that level of baldness, right? Like, surely
Yeah.
you either have the horseshoe thing going on and you're just evening it out or whatever. And then one day Russ goes, I actually can grow my hair out, right? And I was like, what? And then all of a sudden it's like, boom, and he's got this like crazy sick ass hairstyle. And I was like, what? What is this?
Yeah.
Now I see the old pictures of you and I'm like, man, it's so weird to even
It is.
to associate you with that.
Yeah, man, and I'll tell you, man, that pissed a lot of people off because they're like, "Why would you do that?" Like if I had hair, I would never ever do that. And like I had a scalp issue, it was driving me nuts. It literally felt like I had bugs crawling on my head, and it was diet and allergy of some
And
kind.
by the way, don't worry about what I do with my own personal,
Well, it was COVID, dude. It's 2020, right? So I had a hairdo like this, right? It was 2020 hits, and I'm like, I'm not going anywhere for 6 months. Once I realized we're on lockdown, I'm not leaving this house. I literally went in the bathroom and I'm like, I peeled my hair off, and then I walked back downstairs, and my wife's like, "What the holy shit? What are you doing? I love your hair." But I'm like, it was just a matter of like, let's get this thing down and see what's going on. And it turns out who knows what the heck it was, right? So even
Yeah.
still to this day, no clue what the triggers were for that. But it was like 3 or 4 years of driving me nuts. And then you try to put cream on it. Like, how do you put cream on this? You can't, like, on your scalp, right? I walk around like greasy, slimy mess. And I'm like, fine, I'm just
Yeah.
shaving my head. So I did. And then it was just convenient.
Sure.
So I could roll right out of bed. If I didn't have lines on my face from my pillow, I could roll right out of bed and go straight onto Zoom.
Right. Yeah.
Throw a shirt, tie, and a vest on, and I'm ready to go for work, right? So it
Yeah.
was reasonably easy. But yeah, welcome to bald.
I think it's I only brought it up because I think it's just such an interesting illustration of, like just your character and sort of the presentation. It's like there's not going to be a lot of explanation up front, and if you stick around long enough, you might get a little bit of it. But it doesn't really matter. It's just part of the, like should I have been focused on the fact that you could grow hair, or that you had like a seemingly endless supply of like plaid shirts, vests, and ties, right? What's more unusual? I don't know. I think they're tied. I think they tie for that.
I think when people come, I mean, the word that keeps coming up all the time, and particularly in the last maybe 3, 4, 5 months more so, now that I'm doing a lot more public things and a little more Russ branded style stuff
Mhm.
versus just being an employee of. And then this was instructions from my boss, was like, I want you to get more focused on your branding, and some of the people around me, like, they have real brands that are like, Russ, double down on your brand. So you want to add more value, become more valuable. And that become more valuable thing is not being afraid to do and be the real you. And I think a lot of people get lost in this, how to become the real them, and they're more concerned about making sure they don't stand out in the herd versus saying, like, let's lean into the things that make us stand. Now, listen, if something you do is perverted and weird, stop it. Like, or just keep that in your house, right? But if
Yeah.
it's not completely on it, it's just like those things that make you, Randy. So you go back into elementary school, middle school, high school, right? In elementary school, a kid would show up with 3 different colors on and two different shoes, and all the other kids are like, who cares, right? Like, oh, I wish I could wear 2 different shoes. And then you kind of learn, and it kind of gets beat out of you to stand out in the crowd, because like if you stand out, now you become a target.
Right.
So what happens is, by the time you're in middle school, you're just trying to figure out how to blend in the most. And then by the time you get to high school, then there's groups that kind of went in different directions. So we had, like, keep in mind, this is 1980s, right? So we had the squids, or they call them squids, right? The goth kids and the skateboard kids, the alternative music style kids, and then you had the rock burnout kids. They were wearing everything black T-shirt, Black Sabbath, the AC/DC, Zeppelin,
Yeah.
the hard rock crew. They were the hard drinking, potentially some of the drug related crews, and then you had the jocks. Everybody kind of piled into, and they kind of found that group that they identified with the most. Right, you had the Mustang crew and the Camaro crew.
Right.
Camaro crew were smoking cigarettes and drinking booze, and the Mustang crew were the jocks and the sports nuts. So you kind of had these cliques that grew, and you kind of found your little bit of a tribe. And I think what happens is we get into being an adult, and you try not to stick out, and then everybody kind of goes into this granola vanilla look, and then you go into business, and there's this acceptable style, look, feel, flavor. Right. And for me, I'm just kind of like, I don't really care if you like the way I dress. I'm dressing the way I dress. And then and I do odd combinations of weird things and patterns that you shouldn't do and colors that you shouldn't do. And if you don't like it, I don't care. Right.
Right. Right.
Like, it is what it is. It is my style. It is my flavor. And I think people are afraid to step out a little bit. Thankfully for me, you know, I'm not so far out that people are like, dude, you look like a weirdo. But
Yeah.
uh, I kind of have my own style, my own vibe, my own flavor, my own feel. And I think leaning into that is really what makes you you. So lean
Yeah,
into that.
you definitely do have that, and I couldn't agree more. Watching you handle it, watching you walk around and represent it, and it's so. I think what makes it successful, at least from my perspective, outside in, um, is that you don't walk around going, "Look at me in the weird clothes," like "Look at me doing something different." It's like, no, for me, this is normal, right?
This is
So
just the way I
let
dress.
this is just
Yes.
me, right? Like, we don't have to make an issue out of it. Let's have a conversation about
Yeah.
virtually anything, but this
Right.
is just what I'm wearing while we're having that conversation, and
You know,
you're
there's
right.
some,
Like, it
there's,
makes it super easy for me too to find you across the room. Like, oh, there's Russ.
and I will tell you, I showed up at an event last week, and I showed up like this, right, with a hat on, and there was a bunch of people that didn't know who I was.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
next day, shirt, tie, vest. I mean, it becomes your brand. It's like probably maybe a bad analogy, but bad comparison is like Superman in a shirt, tie, and a pair of glasses. Nobody knows who he is. But as soon as he goes out with a cape and he pulls his underwear on the outside of his outfit, everybody knows who he is. Isn't it weird that a lot of the superheroes wear their underwear on the outside? Is that just
that
me
is
that thinks it's
weird.
weird?
That is a weird thing. It feels unprepared to me.
You're
It
like,
feels
okay,
rushed.
what do I put on last? I'm gonna pull my underwear up. Batman, Robin, Superman. Like,
Yeah,
what's the deal?
evidently I was notorious for always wearing hoodies. So I remember seeing I was at a big event that we were doing, and it was freezing cold in the conference hall, and I was in there, whatever, running around. And so I
Yeah.
went to the brand store and bought a hoodie, and I went in the bathroom, and right when I got in there, I run into Glenn. And and Glenn looks over at me and he kind of smiles and he goes, "I see you're wearing your normal uniform." I was like, "Oh, I guess I'm the hoodie guy." Like, I don't know,
You're the hoodie guy.
but and then you said, about the t-shirts. I'm like, okay, well, I have a thing, I guess. That's comfort is something that I have prioritized in my life at this point.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Um,
I think the thing is, like, be known for something. Be known for
yeah,
anything, right?
yeah,
And don't be afraid to switch it up, right? So for me, like, there's something to me throwing a shirt, tie, and a vest on now because I've done it so many times. For me, that's freaking go mode for me. That's
yeah,
the not that it's a character necessarily, but it really is a character. We are a character. Like my work persona is a character. You'll be surprised to find out if I'm fired up the grill and in the barbecue and you sit down and chat with me at the barbecue. This is pretty much me. It's
yeah.
not like there's a completely different human being that plays a part of Russ the Vest guy,
Right.
but that is kind of a character in a way, and there's a feel and a flavor for that, and there's a sentiment. This of like for me, it's like be enthusiastic, give a shit what other people are saying, care about what other people are doing, be interested in other people, be enthusiastic, be passionate, be alive. Like I had somebody the other day, they're like, "Well, Russ, I'm as excited as you are on the inside." Like maybe you could introduce your face to that. And he's like,
Yeah, used to tell my boys, if you have to say it, it's not obvious.
yeah. So he was telling me, he's like, that's like how you express yourself is how I feel on the inside. I just don't
Yeah.
express it on the outside. And it was kind of an interesting thing because like I kind of get that because I know the guy's super passionate and I know the guy's super enthusiastic. It's just his expression of it on the outside is very, very different. And it's okay being the best you, right? Find the way to be the best you.
I think it's such great advice, and especially in a culture, right? So you're in an industry and you're kind of postured in a place where people are looking for maybe what they feel like they're missing, right? Like what am I not? I'm
Right.
not as successful as someone else, or I'm not achieving, or I'm new, or what, like whatever the case is.
Right.
And they're looking for, it's so fascinating. Like, what did you do to get you there, as if that's going to just naturally translate to who you are as a person, right? And it's so I was always, and I continue to be fascinated by this concept of looking to experts, right,
Yeah.
to help you achieve the next version of yourself, when
Yeah.
you're probably as different from that person as you can be, right, in your
Yeah.
natural life. But I've never found that to be your approach, right? You were always like, how can I take a complicated subject and make it easy for you to digest and just generic enough that you can stamp it my way, right? And then do it your way.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
is that, was that intentional, or is that just, did that just naturally, was that naturally just the way it developed?
No, I think I've always had a unique way of describing things. I think when you look at intelligence, intelligence is kind of strange in that there's a bunch of different expressions of intelligence. When you look at IQ, there's IQ, EQ, emotional intelligence. There's math smarts and so forth. I think for me it was kind of weird because I did horribly in school. Did freaking horrible in school, and now Randy as an adult, now I know, therapy. I had a coach that actually forced me to sit down and do an IQ test, and he's like, Russ, I want you to understand you're not stupid, right? And not that I ever felt stupid as much as I never felt like I was enough. I never felt like I was good enough because the measuring sticks they made, like if you measure a turtle by its ability to climb a tree, it's going to be a failure, right?
Right, right,
So you're measuring a monkey's ability to swim compared to a fish, you're going to have a problem. The monkey's going to feel like he's out of his element, right? So for me, I always kind of felt like that monkey in the pool. Like I'm not the best swimmer. Like it's like I was outside of my element of the way classic people look at intelligence and so forth. And going in and saying like school just bored the hell out of me.
yeah,
I was just freaking bored, dude.
yeah.
Like I never did homework ever. I ended up with like a 2.1 grade point average and I never studied once, never turned in
Yeah,
a single
right,
paper ever. So I got
right.
2.1. I could take a test and I could guess my way through most tests because for me, my intelligence wasn't like the learning and memorizing stuff. I've never been a learning memorize stuff, but I've always been able to figure things out. So I've always seen things and I go like, why are you doing it so freaking hard? Like if it can be done in 8 steps, why can't we do it in 5 or 4 or 3 or 2? It's like my favorite recipe is a 1-step recipe. There's not a
Right,
whole lot of them out there, right?
right.
There's a lot of things like you've seen my recipe for doing a video, right? It's 3 steps. 2 of them are the same.
Right.
It's really 2 steps, right? Like
Right.
introduce yourself. Hi, my name's Russ Laggan. I'm the real estate dude, or whatever your intro is. And then you tell them a point, make a point, and then tell them who you are again and get out. Like,
Yeah.
I'm Russ. Uh, by the way, do something cool. And then I'm Russ. See you later. It's really 2 steps. So finding a way to make things manageable for people so it's digestible has always kind of been a superpower of mine. Making things simple has kind of been a superpower. And I think the older I get, the more people point that out is you made something that was really complicated simple. And I saw a quote from Einstein more recently, and I've seen it a couple of times over the years. If you can't explain it so a fifth grader understands it or a 5-year-old understands it, you probably don't understand it yourself.
Right.
And I think like when you explain something, if you're explaining something to the point where everybody understands it, like that's a beauty. There's a beauty to that. And I've always seen really complicated things as very simple and being able to pull them apart and say, it's kind of like, I mean, I speak in metaphors all the time. It's kind of like, and people go, oh, got it.
Yeah.
Right. It's like for me, the beauty in communication is when somebody sees something or experiences something or understands something, taking something complicated, making it simple. There's a beauty in that to me. Flipping on light bulbs. When you see somebody get something that they didn't previously get, yeah, man, that's probably my favorite thing in the world. And it's something I happen to be really good at. And good news is I get to really lean into that.
Yeah. You definitely do. And it's fun to watch, and it's fun to watch it sink. Like it's almost fun to watch you do it as it is to watch those light bulbs go off for people while you're doing it. And I think that ties in a little bit to what I want to talk to next, because you have a couple of big projects that you just recently launched,
Yeah.
um, and uh, and they all have to do with being followable, right? So, well, what was the sort of genesis of that concept moving into manifesting it into something real?
You know, I think, Randy, you have to make sure that you show up as your true, authentic self. And when you show up as your true, authentic self, you're going to have people that kind of move towards that, move to that. And I think the be followable was more just like my realization that there's something more in me that I need to get out in the world. There's a conversation I had with my boss, my current boss at the time, now is Amy Weaver. And Amy Weaver just randomly out of nowhere last year said, Russ, you need to write a book. And I'm like,
I love Amy. She's so cool. She's so good.
thanks
So
for
good.
tattooing me with that one. Right? Like, you know what it takes to write a freaking book? Like, I knew it was a lot, but I also, I was like, it's funny you say that because I've been saying that for a bunch of years. The question is like, so then you get all the regular stuff, right? And you get all the noise and you get all the mental head trash that goes along with it. It's like, would anybody even want to bother to read my book? Like, what am I going to write that people would want to read about?
Sure.
And then, and it's something that's like, now it's like, do I write something about work? Do I write something about people? Do I write something about philosophy? There's a million different things you can write about, going a million different directions, and it was coming down to like, okay, well, what can I do right now that can add more value? So like, one of the themes in my life is always add more value. So like, whatever you're being asked to do, go above and beyond. It's just always been the way it goes. And I mean, that does come from my childhood. It does come from the way I was raised. Instead of going to Boy Scouts, we went to what they called Royal Rangers, which was like church version of Boy Scouts.
Did it? I was there. Oh man, Russ. I was in it. Had the
So
red vest.
they just grind that stuff into you,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of that serves you well, and a lot of that has served me well, and like that always going the extra mile. I mean, we never really had the option of not doing that, right? So my parents always overcommitted us to everything in the church, including the building projects. Every weekend we were working on freaking building the building, So with that being said, you just kind of get into that mantra of like always deliver more than asked for. So when somebody says, "Hey, can you give me these four?" and I'm like, "Sure," and they get five, and they're like, "No, I wanted four," and I'm like, "Here's fifth one's on me." Right? When I was building my concrete countertop business, anytime there was an issue, I fixed it. No questions asked. We just fix it. Right? So what do you write a book on?
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah.
So I'm writing a book so I decided to write a book on attraction because that's my current role,
Mhm.
building companies and building people and building groups and building organizations and building stuff, which requires people, attraction thing. And then I realized like halfway through writing the book, it wasn't really a book on attraction. It was a book on how to be followable.
Yeah.
And then, I'm writing this book with a guy named Cody Purcell, every Friday at 3 p.m. on my calendar. You can go back in my calendar and look every Friday at 3 p.m. He and I did this, and I would jump on. I had my whiteboards right there, and he would say, okay, chapter one, like this is what we're talking about. And I came up with some funny names for chapters and stuff for it. And he's like, what is this about? And I would just literally go riff off for an hour straight with him on my whiteboard, draw it out, and work our way through it. And at like week number 4, 5, 6, week number 2 was chapter 1, more details. He had more questions, and then he would take all that information, transcribe it, clean it up, put it in a format, and then he would hand it back to me, and I'd go back in and mess it back up. So it was me. And my wife said, "Well, Russ, like so, but he's writing your book." And I'm like, "No, I'm writing my book. He's just transcribing what I'm doing. He's doing the hard part, the transcribing part, and organizing it into something that makes sense." And it was every single week. And then by week number 4 or 5, he's like, "Russ, I feel like I'm in a master class on how to build a business."
Yeah.
He's like, "Dude, I'm implementing this stuff in my business right now. This work. I literally did the guy didn't charge me to write the book."
Ooh.
Because he's like, I feel like I should be paying you because you're teaching me how to actually simplify my business.
Right. You're publishing his notes. in your course.
Yeah, so that's kind of how the book came about, and Amy Weaver kind of poked me on it, poked me on it, poked me on it. Next thing you know, I kind of lost control of it, and it just kind of took on a life of its own. 9 months later, I've got this 260 pages of this process of how to become the right person and how to build the right team and how to guide the right stuff in the right direction, and even conversations on how to hire people and how to be the best you. Like that conversation about like being your best unique self and celebrating things that make you stand out. I wrote a chapter on that called White Buffalo.
Yeah.
Like, stand out, man. Like, celebrate the things that make you stand out.
So you mentioned two things that I kind of want to tie in. You mentioned adding value, and you mentioned authenticity.
Yes.
I feel like in order to add value, like to add real lasting value, you have to be authentic.
Yeah,
Because I
yeah.
mean, you can otherwise you're just passing along things that you heard, right? Like and everybody can do that. Right?
Right.
You can read a chapter of someone
Yes.
else's book that impacts someone's life, right? But that's not building, you're not adding value, someone else is adding value, right? You're just
Yeah,
passing it along.
and you see people write books like that. They'll write a book, and it's like I'm the collaborator of 12. I've been the author of a couple of chapters in a couple of other people's books,
Yeah.
and they'll put together a whole book of other people's stuff. Right? I think the beauty comes in when you take think of it like this. It's just like cooking, right? You pull out grandma's recipe, and you're like, here's grandma's recipe for whatever, right? And then what do you do with it? Well,
Yeah.
my grandmother's meatloaf was known for being bland, right? So like, I'm gonna take the core of that thing, and by the way, I'm gonna add a whole bunch of spices. Like,
Right.
my mom and dad are not spicy food people at all, right?
Okay.
You take any of my mom's recipes, and my mom will say, "Well, Russ, do you want the recipe for this?" And I'm like, "Nah, not really."
Good.
Can I use that as a base for something with flavor? Yeah, I mean, no offense, mom, but wasn't
Thanks,
known for
Mom.
building the most flavorful food. So when she comes, she's like, "Who taught you how to cook?" I'm like, "You." She's like, "No, I didn't." I'm like, "Yeah, you taught us how not to do it."
Yeah. It's
Right? So,
perfect.
but it's that taking the recipes and then making it your own, and adding your own little flavor to it, and adding your own little style to it. I think about it like this. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they're like, "How do you do pork shoulder?" I'm like, "I do a pork shoulder in 5 hours and 15 minutes." And they're like, "No, you don't. No, you can't. They're like, you can't do that. Like, it won't." I'm like, "You could take that little blade of that bone, pop it right out. It's perfectly clean at 5 hours and 15 minutes." And they're like,
Yeah.
"How? How do you do that?" I'm like, "Hot and fast." And they're like, "No, it's low and slow." I'm like,
Oh, it's
"Not at my
low.
house, it's not." I'm like, how hot and fast can I make it and still have it come out tender?
Right.
Right? So it's a matter of like taking your spin and putting your spin on it. You could take 10 other people's stuff, put it all in a pile, smush it all together, and that thing that you create is yours. I mean, there's nothing new under the sun, really.
But I think that's interesting, though. I think your analogy is interesting with the pork shoulder because, so in my mind, right, having done some cooking, I hear that and I go, yeah, that doesn't seem realistic, right? But at some point, you had to attempt that method, knowing there was a chance you were going to fail at it, right? And maybe you did that 20 or 30 times. Maybe you ruined shoulder after shoulder until you got to that place where you're like, well, maybe you did until you could do it. Right. But I think that it's an important part because I think that what will keep people from actually learning even how to be authentic
Yeah.
is that fear of failure doing it their own way.
I rarely ever do this, but I'm going to do this because this is super germane to what we're doing. So I picked up my phone, and I'm going to show you something here. Okay, that this is part of my personality, but it's also a learnable trait. Okay, I'm going to show you a picture right now, and this picture makes me giddy.
Okay.
Ready? Here it is.
Hey, there's Tony Hawk. Russ and Tony.
Yeah, man crush, right?
This is not a cardboard cutout of Tony, right?
Not a
This is
cardboard
actually
cutout of Tony
Tony.
Hawk. This is actually Tony Hawk, right? So I bumped into him last week at Inman, and they had him as a guest speaker, and then they had like a shoot pictures, and I'm like, I was doing something else, and I was meeting people, and and running our booth there, EXP thing at Inman. We had a photo booth, dragging people in, getting them to shoot photos. I met hundreds of people. It was probably how I ended up with COVID. So with that said, I wonder if Tony gave me COVID. That would be so cool.
Oh,
I got COVID from Tony Hawk.
coming from Tony
Right?
Hawk.
But keep in mind, I'm 53, so in the 80s, I was on a skateboard in the 80s. And like, how do you learn a trick, Randy?
Yeah, you go try it.
Do you know how many times I did an ollie kickflip and failed? Probably thousands of
Same.
failed ollie kickflips,
Yeah.
right? And a lot of people are not willing to put in the reps and put in the repetitions and do it over and 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 over. And it really does come down to like the mindset of you just grind it out and you figure it out. Now, keep in mind, this is back in the day before computers, before, I mean, VCR and beta, you have VCR tapes, right? And one person had a VCR tape of, what was it? Search for Animal Chin. I remember that like it was yesterday. It was like the first time I saw a skateboard video. Like we'd
Yeah.
only seen our buddies on skateboards, right? I'd
Yeah.
never seen like, what does it look like when pros do a video? And of course, now knowing they did the one out of 100 takes that they landed is the one that they put in the, so it looks like they're
Right.
doing boom, 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 boom. But we thought
Right.
like, oh my gosh, he landed that one and that and that and that and that. And I didn't realize it was all clipped, obviously. But we're like, holy crap, I've never seen that before. And we're like, how do you do that? And we go out and try it over and over and over and over. Dude, I had scabbed up knees and scabbed up elbows and scabbed up
Sure.
forehead and scratched my nose off a half a dozen times, right? Like, how many times did I have jammed fingers and duct taped and, ruining shoes, one pair after the next, wore a hole through the side of every pair of shoes I ever had.
Yeah.
But I think when you look at the mindset and the mentality behind that, the mindset and mentality behind somebody's like, I love people that are triathletes, and I did that a bunch too. I did a bunch of triathlons. I love people that are marathoners, people that are runners, people that are bikers at high levels. Those people go out and go over and over and over and over and over. Think about a magician. Sleight of hand. You're like, oh, it worked. And you're like, poof. Like, you know how many times that guy practices that to make sure that nobody can see where that corner went?
I think it's important too what you're talking about, because I think that's also another reason why people fail so much. You talk about finding your why, all the time.
Yeah.
But there's an intense degree of personal honesty that has to go into the decisions if you're going to enter something, where you want to
Right.
like truly know if you can do it or not.
Yeah.
And for you, right, wanting to learn how to do that ollie kickflip was important enough that it justified the pain, it justified the patience, it justified the timeout, right? It justified the breaking boards and the ruining shoes. But to your other point, to the quote that you made from Einstein, could you explain why something is important or why that has to be part of your character? Could you explain it in a way that makes sense to a 5-year-old?
Yeah.
Probably not, because you probably don't even understand it yourself, right? I think that personal honesty is something that is another one of those things that has suffered in our culture.
Yeah.
Like going outside. It's something that we don't have to be truly honest, because we live in an age where you can put something up that's curated and filtered and not authentic quickly. And even in your point, you could steal something directly from someone else and just, I always think of The Office, when that quote where it says you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, Wayne Gretzky, and then under that he wrote Michael Scott, and you're like, no, no, it's just Wayne, right? Like, you didn't earn the right to say that.
Yeah.
But it's so much more impacting and so much more real if you can be authentic and if you can, if you can present those things. And I think that, to me, that was something that drew me to you as a person, not just having to work with you, but going, when I get Russ, like I'm getting authentic Russ,
Well,
like
you're getting me live, the wins and the blooper reel.
that's right. That's
By
right.
the way, like the blooper reel's freaking funny for a reason.
The best. It's the best.
Yeah. Right.
It's
So
the
like
best.
I could show you 400 failed attempts at super fast motion. And then that one time you land it, you're like part of the process is like enjoying the process and enjoying the attempts. Right. So I think like landing an ollie kickflip for the first time is like, I mean, there's a feel. Look at the hair on my arms is standing up, right?
Yeah.
Still remembering back when I was a kid, like, dude, I ripped one off at 46 years old in front of a bunch of the neighborhood kids,
Come
jumped on their
on.
skateboard, wear the dress shoes, boom, pop, flipped it, boom. I walked off. I'm like, holy crap, I'm glad I didn't break my neck. And the neighborhood kids are like,
You're a hero forever now.
hair on my arm standing up now, remembering that moment. I'm like, walk off Homer. I'll never get on a skateboard ever again. I'll probably die,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But it was one of those things you stand back to like, but I think I think now as an adult, um, understanding that the attempt, you celebrate the attempt, right? Celebrate the attempt over and over and over. There's times when you make, like, there's times when I make something food wise and you're like, that's not that great, right? I made something with the whatever, and I tried to do this brining process, and I get this thing all done, and I took the first bite, and I looked at my wife. She took the first bite, and she's like, "Oh my God, this is a salt lick." I'm like, "Wow, this is horrible." Like, what the heck is that? That's not supposed to go like that.
You got to rinse it, Russ. You can't. What are you doing?
What in the world? Like, that's obviously something went wrong with that one, right? But I said, like enjoying the attempt. I think now at 50 something, I relax more into enjoying the attempts. I'm not as concerned with the outcome. I'm not as concerned with the result. I mean, dude, I raced a bunch of triathlons that I lost bad.
Yeah.
Like so for me, the triathlon wasn't a matter of being on the podium. And don't get me wrong, I do have a number one podium, but it's the enjoying the races and enjoying the speed and enjoying this is the best I got today. And like, I don't care that 400 other people beat me.
Right.
I don't care that, like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I always wanted to do better. That's why I kept going at it and going at it and going at it. That's why I built 70 plus bass guitars. Like every time, like, I think I could do a little better. I could do a little better on this. I could do this a little differently, and I could do that a little differently. And what if I did this? And it's enjoying the process now much more, and enjoying the steps more, and enjoying that, like, what am I doing today versus the finished product? Don't get me wrong. I love the finished product. I love that feeling when you're like done and you plug it in that first time you play it, right? I love the feeling still of cutting a steak with a knife that I made.
Yeah.
Well, I still love that feeling, right? I love it when I'm like, I get to chop vegetables with my Japanese style hand and a half chopper. It looks like you should be going to war with it, but I really enjoy chopping vegetables with it. So don't get me wrong, I love that, but it's like that hammer hit, and then the process of doing the grind and getting partially through the grinding process and knowing I've got more to do, but I enjoyed what I did today. The conversation, I enjoy this conversation, being able to relax and enjoy where you are and being present, right? Yeah. I think a lot of that authenticity is being present in the moment versus always seeking what's next.
Absolutely. Yeah. I couldn't agree more. So I have this question that I straight up stole from Michael Valdez that I like to ask people.
I saw him last week, by the way.
Oh, nice. And I don't want to take it for granted that you have a book coming out, so I'm going to ask the question anyway. And if the answer is this, it is what it is, that's okay. But he would always ask, if you were writing the book of your life, what is this chapter called?
Yeah, wow, good one.
I thought it was good. I thought it was good enough to steal.
Yeah, funny, since I just did the book launch last week officially. The book's been done for about 3 months, but then we were like playing with. Then you got all those little tiny things to play with. I think, I jokingly put a Facebook post out a couple weeks ago, maybe 2 months ago, that said Russ 8.0. And other people were like, "I'm on 22.0," and I'm like, "Well, congratulations, you're way ahead of me." Like, great, thanks for that. Yeah, okay, good. But I think it was the point that. 1.0 is like that figuring out who, like 1.0 is just understanding you are someone. 2.0 is like figuring out who that is. 3.0 is probably more like the getting to know yourself well. 4.0 is like accepting that. 5.0 is like knowing their flaws and you're fine. Like I'm a flawed human being, man. Like I screw stuff up all the time. Like I wish I could go backwards and like I think that 6 and 7.0 is learning not to kick yourself and just be like, it is what it is, and just keep moving forward. I think this is next level for me. It's like leaning into brand Russ which is funny because, like Wendy Forsythe and I go back a long way into like 2014 range. So,
Okay.
10 plus years in business around each other's spheres in business. And she's always had brand Wendy, which is funny because I went in like brand Russ. Like,
Yeah.
I want to be like Wendy. So I got my
She's really good at it. She's
brand
really
Russ.
good at it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like understanding that like the better I am at brand Russ, and people are like, well, are you looking at an exit plan? Are you looking to go out of your current role, Russ? I'm like, no, but I'm saying like in order for me to do my current role better, I need to be leaning into the brand that is me and that authentic thing that is me and that voice. And for me, most of the time, people are using me to help forward their gains in themselves. And I'm a tool for this company currently for people to actually take their world and their business to the next level.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I take myself to the next level, then I can pull all those people along behind me, right? So again, this just falls right back in with be followable. Like I need to next level my stuff in order to help next level everybody else's stuff behind me, right? So I'm uniquely qualified and capable of having conversations with agents and brokers and showing them how to go from where they are to where they want to be and how they're going to get there. Like I'm a master at that conversation.
Yeah.
I'm a master at teaching that conversation. And in order for me to next level my things, like by the way, I'm in that like you've seen this, right? Here's me, here's the actual book itself, right? And I went straight off my whiteboard. Where are you now? Where do you want to be? How are you going to get there? And in the process of writing this book, I'm like, where am I now? Where do I want to be? How am I going to get there? Like I've got this too, right? So I'm in this process. You'll hear people say like, for me, born 1972. Like I jokingly say to people, like ID me for booze. I'm like, I think I look pretty good for 72, don't I? And they're thinking 72 years old. And they're like, yeah, you look great for 72. I'm like 1972, but thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's that dash between born and dead. Obviously, you want to expand that dash as long as you can. But like, what does that dash consist of, right?
Right.
Like, what is that arrow? What does that arrow consist of? And for me, it's like, okay, I need to be doubling down on brand Russ. So I'm more valuable. So the company sees me as more valuable. Like, how do I move up?
Yeah.
Where do I move up? Like, what does
Right.
that look like? Do I want to do this job for the rest of my life? I mean, Glenn Sanford looked me square in the face one day. He's like, you're not going to want to do this job for the rest of your life, Russ.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't want to do this job for the rest of your life. Even though I'm really good at what I do and I love what I do, I don't want to do it for the rest of my life. So in order for me to next level my business, how do I become more valuable? So I'm more valuable. How do I make more dollars? You got to become more valuable. So I got to work on the me first. And then can I show and teach and train? Like after I learned how to do an ollie kickflip, by the way, guess what? Everybody around me learned to do them really quick. Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing, right? You got to have foot position is everything. Because if I stand here,
domino.
I got to have this foot back here. If I have this foot back here, as soon as I pop up, that thing starts to rotate whether I like it or not, right? It's just a matter of understanding what is important in this process. And then once you point it out, people are like, duh. And they're like, well, that was easy. But the learning how to do it the first time wasn't. But now that I know, by the way, you can make a reduction sauce out of damn near anything.
Right. Just cook it long enough.
You take almost everything, suck all the moisture out of it, right? And it becomes more concentrated, more flavorful. By the way, be really careful adding salt to anything. Don't salt it till the end because when you start reducing stuff, it gets saltier and saltier and saltier by the second. Right. And don't get me wrong, that's okay, but at some level, it's too much.
Too much.
Right? So, like, it's just learning that process and learning it. Like, it's okay. You're in the process, and it'll be fine in the end. By the way, orange juice makes it. You can do some amazing things with orange juice reduction. Orange juice and a little booze and some herbs.
Let us know what your success out there is with your orange juice reduction sauce. We'd love to hear your anecdotal tales of victory in the kitchen. So the book is about that. It's about Be Followable, right? What can we expect from the podcast version?
Yeah, funny enough, the podcast version is not going to be real estate focused. So I'm actually actively seeking non-real estate people to have this conversation. I think this is a matter of it's a matter of becoming. It's a matter of leadership from various angles and different angles, unconventional leadership. I'm working on a past CEO of multiple years of Walmart tenure as one of my guests. And the reason being is the guy likes craftsmanship.
Right.
Like, I want to talk to that guy about Most of the most amazing leaders, they're not just leaders in that they got unusual things. You'll find that most of the best leaders have some
Absolutely.
really different things that they do and other things that they're passionate about, and having other things to be passionate about makes you a way better leader. Some people say, well, Russ, that's a distraction. No, it's really an enhancement. If you don't have something that you dream about while you're at work that's not work, man, like life is so much more dimensional, so many more dimension than that. Like I've been
Yeah.
saying this to my brother Dan, you need a freaking hobby. And he's like, you need less hobbies. Well, maybe,
Let's meet
maybe.
in the middle. So,
Right. Well, listen, I don't have children. So like, what do you do after 7 p.m. if you don't have children? Right.
right.
Like I don't party. I don't go out drinking. I'm not a big sports fan. I don't watch TV. So I read books and I make stuff. Right. So for me, I'm very blessed in that I don't have all those distractions. So I have a lot more time than most people to be able to lean into some of this stuff. Uh, but like having something to dream about and think about that excites you, like I've got this thing sitting right over there. I can't wait to play with this tomorrow. I'm excited. Maybe I might get into it tonight, drag it down to the basement, get into it tonight to fiddle with it. But like having stuff to look forward to. I just read a post recently. It's like Alex Hermosi said this. I always underestimate the power of having something to look forward to. And I'm like, man, like when I've got a big race that I'm aiming for, which I don't do anymore because of having two hips replaced, I don't do that. But like when I had a mountain that I was planning to climb, when I had a thing, when I had a race that was coming, when I have a gig that a guy's got to do and the bass has got to be done because the guy's got to be play, and he's going to be playing something of mine on stage, like those moments of having those things to look forward to and that future pace, it kind of pulls you through the world. Uh, like have something to dream about, right? That's
Yeah.
the best parts in life sometimes are not the things you're doing, it's the things that you're dreaming about.
So the last episode of this podcast we did with my buddies, it was based on a quote, and the quote was, "The purpose of life is to be defeated by greater and greater things." Right?
Yeah, man. Like I can't tell you, like I want to get my ass kicked by something way bigger than me. Like I want to get my ass
Yeah.
kicked by better and better stuff. Like for me, like when I was racing triathlons, like I would look at the dude next to me and like unit, right? I was like, God, if I could look like that, I'd be slow.
Yeah,
Because I want,
right.
dude, my scrawny ass was gonna kick him. Just I was gonna beat him donkey stupid, right? Because you can't haul all that meat, right? I mean, these guys look beautiful, but like man, the skin. Look at the guys that are winning triathlon. They're freaking skinny dudes, right?
Yeah.
They're 155, 160 pounds tops. They might have decent sized legs, but the rest of them, like, you can't haul the meat, right? So, like, the goal isn't to look pretty. The goal is to be fast. It's a completely different game. Larry White, I'll call you out. He always like, man, you got the skinniest little chicken legs. And we did a CrossFit workout, and as soon as we started running, I go, "Phew." And the dude could outlift me, but I'll blow him up when we're running, right? So, and I wasn't even that great of a runner. So it's a matter of like figuring out what that recipe is for you to be great at what you're doing. And like, I loved it when people beat me. I loved it when my buddy Raj beat me because I want him to. Like, dude, Randy, if there's any one thing that would say, like on my tombstone, not that I'll ever have one, they'll probably cremate me and throw me out of an airplane. But with that said, if there was a tombstone, it's like Russ loved to get beat.
Yeah.
I want you to win, dude. Like, I want every freaking person around me to win, and I want you to win at the highest level, and I want you to kick my ass. But you got to understand, I'm not going to let you have it.
That's right.
I will fight a freaking 4-year-old. I will put him in a headlock. I will fight anybody. But
So
you want to
good.
win, you got to show up and play hard, and you got to know I'm going to give you everything I got every single time, and I expect that from other people. I
Same.
expect you to give it everything you got. I'm never going to let you win. But I want you. I'm rooting for you. I'll
Yeah.
stand at the finish line ahead of you. I'll root for you. If I'm behind you and you pass me going the other direction towards the finish, and you're ahead of me, I will freaking high five. I'm like, you go, get it, right?
Yeah.
You got to know I'm coming. You got to know I'm coming. You better keep going because I'm coming. You stop, I'm coming.
That's amazing. It's
But it's just
amazing.
and that's really a mindset, right? That's a driven mindset. Uh,
100%.
and it's always to always do better, right? Like, cool, done. How do I do better?
So inspiring. So, man, this has been an amazing conversation. I'm so grateful for you just
What,
taking the
7
time to
minutes?
do it. Yeah. Where can people find it? Where can people find the book? Where can people find the podcast? Where can people find
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, so a couple details on that. So befollowable.book.com, you go there. That's got some details, like a little more detail on the book, and you can order the book off of there. Of course, you can pop it on Amazon. It's available on Amazon. Be Followable is the book. Russ Laggan is me, and then the podcast is Be Followable Podcast. My first guest that I just jumped last week was live with is Scott Clary, 1.7 million followers on Instagram.
Hmm,
How about Be
nice.
Followable?
Yeah.
Wow, right?
Jeez.
Yeah, so that's
Nice.
cool. So
Nice.
I've got John Cheplack, renowned in real estate coach, super great guy. I've got a guy named Jeff Talbot who's out of New Zealand, a coach, life coach type guy out of New Zealand, not in the real estate space, which is pretty cool. I interviewed my clown of the month, Frank Panunto. I
Yeah,
interviewed him.
Frank's
Yeah,
on my list too, so they'll
yeah.
get to meet Frank at
Yeah,
some
yeah.
point here.
Frank's awesome. That dude is freaking complete awesome. So that's just a great human being and a great
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
And then of course I interviewed my mother. Funny enough, I
Oh
pulled her on the couch.
man.
I interviewed my mom and we talked about leadership, and she started a homeless shelter about 25 years ago,
Yeah.
and built that through a bunch of health issues. Man, that's a different weird leadership style, building a homeless shelter. So Be Followable podcast available on Spotify. It's also on Apple and Amazon also. So just jump in. Spotify's the easy one. Just type in Be Followable podcast, and I'm going to just keep picking them off one right after the next. And if you guys have,
Yeah.
if you got a guest that you want to hear me interview, we'll have some fun with that too. Don't hesitate to throw them at me.
Definitely reach out. Let us know. You will be able to find all the links in the description down below. So you can go check out Russ, find out what he's doing. Russ, you're an amazing dude. You made a huge impact in my life. I've loved working with you. I've loved building a friendship with you. I've loved this conversation, and I'm super stoked and excited for what you have going on. And if there's anybody that I could say could make Be Followable fly, it's definitely going to be you. So I hope that our audience goes and checks it out. But until then, we just want to thank you all for listening. Thanks for tuning in. We are having a blast with these things. Check us out on Spotify and Rumble. We're on Instagram and, X and all those platforms too. But go find Russ, go find us, check it out, share it out to your friends. In the meantime, this has been another episode of Sweeter After Difficulty podcast, and I am Randy Highsmith. My guest today was Russ Laggan. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.